Storms. Even the most seasoned seafarer trembles at the first clap of thunder on the horizon. Unpredictable, volatile, irrational. The force of a tempest can turn a freighter into a child's bath toy, tossing and turning the vessel at the leisure of wind-blown whitecaps. The Sea of Galilee is known to be particularly prone to sudden storms, abruptly changing character due to its low geographic position in a valley surrounded by hills. Doesn't that seem familiar? Think about it. Isn't it also true that we often experience some of the strongest storms in the deepest of life's valleys? Scripture tells us of one such storm. Following a day of teaching the crowds, a massive squall battered the vessel that carried Jesus and his disciples. Thunder applauded while wind and waves threatened to capsize the boat, striking fear into the hearts and minds of the disciples. Consumed with their bleak fate, the disciples plead, "Who can calm the storm?" "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?"
Fear,
Addiction,
Anxiety, judgment, loneliness,
loneliness, depression,
uncertainty,
struggle,
broken,
needing acceptance,
addiction.
anxiety.
My whole life I've been surrounded by substance abusers or substances like alcohol or drugs or anything like that, and in various forms. And I fell into it around my sophomore year, and it just was a huge spiral down in my life. Like, I just could never get off of it. I could never stop drinking. I could never stop smoking or doing this or doing that.
So last year I was a freshman and I already felt like I had almost no friends because during my 8th grade year, practically all of my friends abandoned me.
My family went through a phase where there was a big split, and I was caught in the middle of it.
I didn't know anyone who was going through the same things that I was going through.
And it consumed me, you know? It changed completely who I was. It made me into someone who was an aggressor, who was angry all the time, who was hurting and hurtful, you know?
I didn't really know where to look or where to go to.
I had this really big fear of abandonment. I don't know where it came from.
I always care about what are people going to think of me, how are they going to think of the way I dress, the way I look.
I don't even know when it started, but I was young. I was about in 6th grade, and that's where I started my addiction to pornography.
I was the outcast. I never fit in anywhere. People would always look at me and go, "Oh, it's that guy."
Growing up as a child, I never had that perfect family that everyone, or that I dreamed of. I never had a mom and dad who got along. So I always grew up in a world of fighting.
Loneliness turned into depression. Depression turned into anxiety.
I always felt alone, and I felt like no one was there.
I was about ready to end my life. I just felt so done with life that I was so depressed that I just felt like no one cared for me. I was
made
just so
many
lonely
mistakes
that
trying to find acceptance.
I didn't see a point in being on this earth.
It's never been easy just doing things for the wrong reasons.
I thought that no one was gonna want to hang out with me at lunch, or I already felt want to hang out with me after school.
And it consumed me. It changed that
Silence. With a single word, the seas became smooth as glass, and the wind was said to have run out of its breath. Who is this that the wind and the waves, mighty as they may be, bow to his call? The only explanation is He is Lord, and He who can calm the raging sea can surely bring to peace the storm surrounding me.